Eduardo Escobar with 2 more RBIs, 6 for the night, and he has hit for the cycle, the first bet in 10 years.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Shea Station podcast. It is Thursday, June 9th. The Mets are 38-21. They have dropped 2 of 3 to the San Diego Padres, and they are finally wrapping up this gauntlet of a West Coast trip. I'm one of your co-hosts, Jack, aka Jolly. Joining me is often regarded at Citi Field, Jeremy Blevins. A lot of people made that mistake. I couldn't believe it when it happened. And Jerry, you have something fun coming up this weekend, right?
I do. First of all, the power of Jeremy can't be overstated. You heard it. Literally, I'm not going to influence your answer here, but how many times do you think you heard people, or what percentage of people?
So I want to preface this by saying that Jerry, we got recognized a lot. It was very, very cool. Jerry was a big celebrity at Citi Field. So I would like to say that I think 30 fans probably came up to you and said something. And I would say that maybe 8 to 10 of those fans called you Jeremy. Like an overwhelming percent of people.
That's a good chunk of people, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what insane. It is. And it's been that way my entire professional career. It's never happened. It doesn't happen anywhere but in baseball. Isn't that wild?
And even Shea Station listeners, there were a couple of them, and they called you Jeremy, and your name is at the bottom of the box.
People would hand me my baseball card, and it's written Jerry, and they'd be like, "Hey, Jeremy," it's hilarious. Our own Kelsey Wingert is a victim of such when she was in 2019 when I played for the Braves. She was our sideline reporter. She called me Jeremy in front of the whole team in the lobby, and she's like, "Oh." And so I called her Kelly for a long time. And I often bring it up to Kelsey.
As he should.
But it just, I don't know what it is. At first it's well, that's weird. But then it just it became a thing where I just had to let it go. And if you're going to be around me, I'll politely address it. Otherwise it's going to continue to happen. But it's just a really, really weird thing that I don't know, some cosmic rip in the space-time continuum of some sort.
Was there ever a person of authority or a big status guy that called you Jeremy and you didn't correct him because you just didn't want to make a fuss or whatever?
Plenty
okay,
of people
cool.
I don't correct all the time. Especially situationally speaking. If it's somebody that I respect, I'll come up and I'll I don't know, somehow bring it up that not that they called me Jeremy, but just to make sure that they know I'm Jerry.
You slip it into the conversation.
Yeah. You try to, based on the situation.
Yeah.
I think Lucas Duda is still mad at me for calling, I don't know, because for calling, we were facing each other, I think in spring training when I first got traded over. And he's like, "All right, Jeremy." And I'm like, "It's Jerry." And he was, I think he was, so he would bring up that I called him out because he's a quiet guy. He's
going to show him up. That's unbelievable. By correcting your own name. How dare you?
Yeah. All right. Anyway, rambling on. I do have some fun stuff this weekend.
Yeah.
Once we're done recording here, I will be driving over to Cleveland and I'll be doing the color commentary on the radio for the Oakland A's as they play the Guardians. Which will be so fun, man. I love the A's. They are my first love in the big leagues. I've spent the most time of my career there. But also, since this is a Mets pod, we're talking about the Mets. If you're feeling bad about our current situation, take a peek over to what's going on over there.
I mean, this was kind of like the A's all-star game between the Mets and the Padres. You had Bassett, you had Minaya, you had Canna. All the former A's guys had a
Melvin.
Melvin was there. That's a big one.
Because of what they were doing. Profar, who dominated us.
Yep.
Former A. Just crazy.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. But I mean, I'm very happy that you're going to get back in the booth. We saw you in the booth last September. Did a splendid job, even if it's not for us. So guys, if you have some time this weekend, make sure you tune in. Make sure Jerry's doing a good job.
Good, because I sent Ed Coleman into retirement.
Oh my God. You put him away for good, dude.
He's like, I can't do this shit anymore.
I don't think you were the cause of that there.
Oh, okay.
Come on.
All right. That's good to know.
You got to hold yourself a little higher there. Come on now.
Okay.
All right, guys, we're going to dive into this 3-game set. I luckily have game 1, which is about the only fun game to talk about in this series, so I'm going to take my sweet time doing it as well. So, we entered San Diego after splitting 2 of 4 against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Good feeling there. And we got right started the same way against the Padres as well. In the first inning against Blake Snell, a Marte single followed up with 3 walks in a row, 3 great at-bats from Pete Alonso, Mark Canha, and J.D. Davis, who had the best of all, a 10-pitch walk that brought in a run against Blake Snell. And then Eduardo Escobar, who we're going to talk about a lot in this game, and probably for the whole episode, singled home 2 runs to make it 3-0 in the first off Blake Snell. He threw 43 pitches in the first inning as the Mets worked 3 separate 6+ pitch at bats. Marte and Lindor both stole their 8th base of the season. Very cool. Big story in this game was Carlos Carrasco, who had a fantastic start, arguably one of his best of the year. 7 innings, 2 earned runs, 5 hits, right back to no walks, which I loved, and 10 strikeouts on 105 pitches. He lowers his ERA to 3.52 on the season, and in the wake of Scherzer and DeGrom and McGill being gone, his presence has been absolutely abundant in this Mets rotation. I don't know if you're a listener that's into pitcher wins, but Cookie currently leads the NL in pitcher wins with 7, so that's pretty cool. He's tied for 3rd in the NL with a 1.8 wins above replacement, and 4.9 walk percentage is 4th in the NL, so very cool for Cookie. He's ranking up high up in there. Nimmo, later on in the game, singled home Eduardo Escobar after a double, so there's a single and a double for Eddie. That makes it 4-1. Mazara gets Cookie on an RBI double in his final inning in the 7th, but the Mets get this back immediately because that's what they've done all season, as Eduardo hits a 2-run home run in the 8th. He absolutely tattoos this ball, takes a good look at it too, which I absolutely loved. The Mets had this one 7-1, and then it got a little hairy in the 8th inning. Joely Rodriguez lets on 2 runners. Drew Smith gives up a 3-run tater to Luke Voit that makes it 7-5 Mets. But they clap back once again, just like they did the last time before. With 2 outs in the 9th, Eduardo Escobar hits a triple down the right field line to bring home Pete Alonso and Mark Canha. That completes the first Mets cycle in 10 years, the first one since Scott Hairston in Colorado at Coors Field. And then they poured it on from there. Jeff McNeil with a double to bring home Eddie. Tomas Nido, the runners in scoring position king, as you mentioned last episode, he brings home McNeil. 9 men come to bat. It's 11-5 Mets. Drew Smith stays in. He cruises in the 9th to seal a decisive Game 1 victory, 11-5 Mets. Lots of positives from this game.
I mean, the 2 best performances of the whole series happened right off the bat. Cookie was fantastic. A double-digit strikeout performance looked so good, and then Eddie's cycle was incredible, awesome, very cool. Electric. It was a natural one, organic, because he hit them all. The triple came last. It was a big one. He sprinted. He was fired up. Like, I loved watching. He made a great play defensively, a couple of them. Just an overall wonderful game for the Mets. Minus the Drew Smith homer that he gave up, another one. By the way, I don't know what it is. I don't enjoy watching Luke Voit play baseball.
Interesting. Is it because he's a former Yankee, or is there no animosity?
No, I don't mind the Yankees. Like, as weird as that is for Mets, I actually respect the Yankees. I like watching them. I think, I've said it a few times. I love watching Nestor Cortez pitch.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the Yankees. I don't know why. I feel like he's like a villain in my own brain. I don't know why. I don't know, but I just don't enjoy it. And then when he hits it off our boy Drew Smith, I'm not a big fan.
Bad recipe there. I have a question for you, because I don't know about you, but until the 9th, pretty much as soon as he hit it down the line, I had no idea that Eduardo Escobar was that close to the cycle, especially because the homer happened in the 8th and the triple happened in the 9th. He got the 2 hardest things in the last 2 innings. When did you realize that the cycle was on the table?
After the home run,
okay.
Because it's weird as you're keeping track of the game. There's just like, it's like when a guy gets through 5 without giving up a hit, you're like, oh, there's a possibility of a no hitter. It's the same thing with the cycle. You're like, oh, he's got 3 knocks. Is all 3? Okay, he needs this for a cycle. It's just one of those random things when you're tallying it in your head that you see, because it's not a big deal. It really isn't, but it's really cool when it happens. I would rather see, like 5 triples or something. What I mean?
Yeah.
because a lot of times guys will pull up short after they hit, they have a double. Instead of getting, 2 doubles, they'll stop at first. I think that sucks.
I know.
I don't like that at all because they're, I don't know.
This was like a nice organic cycle too. Like
organic. When it happens like that, when it happens in, a lot of it was necessary because he secured a W for the most part by adding those runs, especially late in the game. Super cool. And again, we need Eddie Escobar. He's coming out of his kind of lull to start the season. He really is swinging the bat well from both sides of the plate. Just murdering the ball, which I'm a big fan of.
I mean, Shakira was the catalyst. We all know now.
Great tweet. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I was a little bit bummed because Jake Eisenberg, who's been helping out in the booth on the radio for the Mets this season, reached out, said that he wanted to use the stat during Game 2. And I was like, oh, that's incredible. Like, I'm going to listen in and make sure I hear it. And then the first inning happened for the Mets, and the tone was kind of set for that game, and I don't think a Shakira stat was going to leak its way in.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is what it is. The first happened was rough. Do you want to get into Game 2 here?
I think so. I think it's time.
All right, here we go. Game 2, Yu Darvish versus Taijuan Walker. Just a dud of a game for the Mets. I don't want to get into it. A lot of hit by pitches. Starling Marte kind of gets banged up after trying to steal second base and ends up exiting the game. He'll be missing some time. Luckily, MRI is back clean. Pete Alonso gets hit in the hand. I think he tried to punch the ball on a little half swing. It was a weird thing. Again, thank goodness, because it looked like it could be horrible. He got hit in a strange part of his right hand. MRI came back clean, thank goodness. But after that, Darvish kind of rolled when hitless, held the Mets hitless up for 5 2/3. He was just dominant after that first inning of hitting like 3 out of the first 5 guys. Taijuan looked pretty good. He had a shaky first 2 innings, went 6, gave up 4. All 4 in the first 2 innings, gave up 5 hits, 2 walks, 4 Ks, gave up 1 homer, a leadoff homer to Jurickson Profar, who just, he came up at 19 years old with the Rangers. He finally looks like the guy they were hoping to be.
Yeah.
Swinging the bat well, playing good defense. He's sprinting all over the field. But Taijuan did good. Gave up that 1 homer and the 103 pitches. He did give up his 30-inning homerless streak with that leadoff homer to Profar, but it was he threw a meatball. It wasn't like a good pitch that we're like, oh, is there doubt that he still has that zip on it? He gave it to him. He took it. The big one for me was our Holderman, our man. He walked the bases loaded, and then allowed Manny Machado to hit a single up the middle. All 3 of those runners scored. And then we got to see a guy named Morejon throw the last 2 innings and absolutely be filthy from the left side, throwing like a hundo. He threw like 18 pitches in 2 innings of pure dominance. But the Padres dominate the Mets in the middle game, 7-0. Thank goodness nobody got hurt. But this was a dud of a ball game and a classic Game 2 for your boy Blev.
Yeah, man, you had a nice little run there with the back-to-back sweeps. They were cruising. Maybe we thought the curse was over, and then, we got punched in the mouth there. Yeah, I mean, a couple things that I liked from this game. It'll get lost in translation for sure, but Taijuan Walker really rounding out after those first 2 innings was really nice. Only a walk in the 4 innings that followed, so he gets through 6 on 103 pitches. Gave the Mets a chance to stay in this game. The offense just was not awake. I think they were a little deflated after the Alonso and Marte injuries, because that was when we didn't know what was going to happen. Now we have the news that thankfully everything's clean, but that we were kind of in limbo there for a little bit. And the Padres just have an absolute stable of pitching arms, man. I mean, we ducked Mackenzie Gore and Joe Musgrove in this series, and they still looked absolutely filthy every step of the way, except for Game 1 there, where they kind of had that blow up in the 9th.
Yeah, they need. We'll get back into it. I'll let you go into Game 3, but they're a good team, man. They're gonna get the Dodgers a long run for their money, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think they got some adversity from last year. They got some thick skin now, and they're going to get Tatis
They haven't been
back.
hitting. They hit some in our series, but they're going to get Fernando Tatis back, and that guy is a difference maker. So
yeah, glad we're playing them now. We'll get them again later when they have Tatis, but we'll be at home, thankfully. All right, game 3, and it's kind of a similar story. I haven't really gotten a blowout dud loss game to recap yet, and this is my first of the year, and boy is it a doozy. It was the battle between Chris Bassett and Sean Manaea, the former Oakland A's aces, squaring off for their new teams, and Manaea won this one pretty handily. Chris Bassett simply just did not have it against the San Diego Padres, couldn't get big outs and big jams. He went 3 1/3 innings, 7 runs, 6 of them earned, 7 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts on 75 pitches. His ERA is up to 4.35 on the season, and he has allowed 22 earned runs in his last 26 innings pitched. It was a rough month for Chris Bassett. June kicks off in a rough way as well. Hopefully he can round out again soon. The Mets bats could not figure out Sean Manaea. We've kind of had some struggles against lefties all season, and he had one of the best outings we've seen from a lefty so far. He went 7 strong with 1 earned run. Jeff McNeil went 2 for 4 with an RBI, so that's nice, but the rest of the lineup goes 3 for 27 around him, so no real help there. You're really feeling the loss of Pete Alonso in these games as well. Steven Nagosic, very similar to Colin Holderman, finally had a blow-up that kind of tanked the ERA and brought a step back down to earth a little bit. He allowed 4 earned runs in an inning and a third. A dropped foul fly ball by J.D. Davis, who is not a first baseman, so you can't blame him too much. Kind of a tough play, but one he had in his glove and popped out. This paved the way for a walk, a single, and then a Jake Cronenworth 3-run homer, and that was kind of just the deafening blow of this game. It made it 11-0. Khalil Lee, who got called up to have an extra body on the bench, he gets a pinch hit. He goes 0 for 1 in his return to the big leagues. The Mets scored just 2 runs, and they make 3 errors in what I consider the ugliest loss of the year. They lose 13-2. They drop the series. They fall to 38-21. I think it's only the 4th or 5th time they've lost back-to-back games this season, and they get a much-needed off day before they head over to Anaheim, where they face a team sputtering in a much worse way.
Yeah, something's got to give in the series in Anaheim for one of our teams. But you hit a couple of things right on. One is Chris Bassett hasn't looked great since Scherzer went down.
Yeah.
We kind of wanted him to step up. We put a lot of pressure on him to do that. He's capable of doing it. He's literally done the opposite. I was a little bit worried about some of his comments post-game, how he's saying, like, I've never felt like this before. I don't know what to do, which is a little bit shocking. But This guy's a veteran. He's got really good people around him. They'll figure it out. He has an off day. He'll dive in and figure it out. But you were really hoping, and the fans are really hoping, that this is the time that he steps up and just gives us basically what Cookie did. Give us a dominating 7-8, just – if he would have thrown like 8 shut here or 8 with 1 run, just a dominating performance, it would have been a beautiful thing. Kind of like we're okay, but then he looked shaky for like the 5th consecutive start.
Yeah, something like that.
To me, that's the biggest story, because everything else you can kind of leave in San Diego. Bassett, this is a lingering thing, especially when we're missing. We're going to get Tyler McGill back, but he's also coming off of a long absence. He's going to be, on the short number of pitches. So we don't know what we're going to get, because he's still a wild card. He's still really young. So we were hoping for Bassett. But you also said another thing, which I thought was indicative, and I didn't think about it, but you said this was the ugliest loss of the season.
Yeah,
I think so too. We've had a few, nothing like stands out now after the fact, but there were a couple of moments where it was like, man, that was terrible baseball. But this one, it gives you a bunch of question marks. Our bullpen looks shaky again. Nagosic left some meatballs again out there. I don't know what the deal was, but hopefully these are things that you can leave behind in a series. Like you said, this is the biggest off day we've had all year too, where we're like, all right, guys, they're going to be in Anaheim. Go to Disney, reset your brains, whatever the case may be. The Magic Kingdom can do magical things for you.
Yeah, I think that it is the ugliest loss of the year. It's nice that it took until June 8th for the Mets to have a loss where they just looked thoroughly outplayed in every facet of the game. We've had some gut wrenchers this year for sure, but nothing quite like that 13-2 route. I think the team is, they played 28 games and 29 games. They flew back and forth from the West Coast twice in that span. these guys are tired, they're injured, they're battered, they're beaten up. They're major league ball players, and they should be able to handle it. And they played good baseball. They swept 2 series right before this West Coast trip.
Yeah.
I think it's very easy to forget that, in their last 4 sets, they had 2 sweeps and then the split. So that put them at, if I'm doing the math right in my head, 8-2, and then they lost 2 or 3 here. So they went 9-4 in that span, which is really
plus
good.
The best other teams in the league are in the Dodgers and the Padres. I think the Cardinals are really good.
Yeah.
But those are the 2 top teams to me. The Padres have a bright future ahead of them.
Yeah.
They got Manaea looked incredible. He looks the best I've ever seen him pitch. Darvish was good. They got a good team, man. They're going to need to hit. One thing you mentioned JD Davis and not catching that foul ball. You got to catch that. He did a fine job. He filled in for Pete. He can't play first base. We don't want him to do anything on purpose. We can't play him at a position like that anymore. Man, just a tough series. Take a day off, head to Anaheim.
Yeah, it was J.D. Davis had to fill in at first. He made a nice catch on Guillorme's slow roller that he made an incredible play on, thrown under his body, which was really cool. Guillorme is just always putting on
you mean he caught the ball at first base?
Quick reaction, but
he caught the ball.
But I want to ask you.
Great job catching the ball.
I wanted to ask you, if you're the Mets and you're in a position where you feel like Pete Alonso, he's not going to hit the IL, but he's going to need some time, do you call down to Dom Smith or do you continue to let him stay down there and get more at-bats in AAA?
Depending on the situation, I think, again, if it's swollen and bruised up, I'm throwing him on the IL for 10 days and I'm calling up Dom Smith.
Yeah.
That's it. It's really simple. And if it's just for those 10 days, that's whatever it is. If you can retroactive it, because JD can't play first base because he makes the defense worse. Like a good first baseman, you just got to be you praised him for catching a ball. Like it was,
it was a tough catch.
But if he, there was also a play where he missed a tag on a bad throw, but I don't even think a good first baseman needs to come off that bag there.
Yeah.
It's just not great. So I would call Dom Smith up. But again, if he's only going to if he misses 3 more games, I'm okay with not calling up Dom. But if it's any more than 3 more, it's not worth the defensive loss to me.
Yeah.
But
and I think they're playing it day by day, so we'll see soon enough. But Pete Alonso said that he was pleasantly surprised in a good way himself, realizing that the hand was healing.
Another shout out to Pete Alonso.
Just strange quotes, but that's a good one.
I know, but yeah. I love how forthcoming he is in his interviews and stuff. He just says some of the weirdest things you'll ever hear in the whole world, and it's so earnest, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's just. What a character. I know. I love him, man. You really
felt the loss of him in this lineup, man. You really did.
You felt the loss of him on the baseball side, but again, his personality. Like I'm appreciative of who he is as a player and a person because he's sincere. It's so funny.
So we talked a lot about Mets starters struggling. Bassett has a 7.62 since the departure of Max Scherzer. It's not only Bassett, though. Mets starters in general have a 5.28 ERA since Max Scherzer has gone on the IL. I don't know if there's any real correlation there or if the Mets just hit a speed bump and played some tougher lineups. But, the stats are there. There is some form of correlation with Max Scherzer going to the sidelines.
We got some blow-ups, too. You got some blow-ups that are just going to, I think Taijuan Walker has pitched really well all season.
Yeah.
Cookie Carrasco looks, so damn good.
Yeah. Imagine if you have 2021 Cookie Carrasco instead of 2022 Cookie
David
Carrasco.
Peterson ran into some trouble, but he looks all right. Yeah. And then Bassett's been really bad, and we're going to need him to step up. But again, you get 32, 33 starts in a season, you're going to have a tough stretch. This is the difference in baseball. Mets fans are used to seeing Jacob deGrom throw, and the guy doesn't really have an off day. Yeah. What was it? Did you tweet it out about the conversation that Terry had in the dugout?
Yeah, I think it was the anniversary a few days ago. That was one of the videos I've made on my channel, like
Where
way back.
DeGrom got roughed up and he
in
was
Texas.
looking pretty down, and Terry goes over there and talks to him, and he's basically saying the same thing we are, is, hey man, this is the big leagues. You're going to have a rough one every once in a while. Don't get too down on yourself. Don't bury yourself in these kinds of situations, because this is a game and it's a marathon where law of averages, you're too damn good to let this bog you down. Let it eat at you because you're a perfectionist and a professional, but don't let it bring you down for your next start. So while it be pissed off, be mad when you go to bed, but when you wake up, be ready to work and get better for the next start. So that's basically where we're at. We have a really, really, really good team. I'm not worried. I am eagerly anticipating the return of Tyler McGill, Max Scherzer, and if we get some Jacob deGrom in this season, I
need it, man, dude.
I want to watch him pitch so bad. I really do.
I think some Mets fans are hitting the panic button because our division rivals are finally waking up a little bit. Braves have won 7 games in a row against teams that they should beat.
They look good too.
Yeah.
They were like the A's. I had to watch that series, just for research for this weekend.
Yeah.
They look good, man. The A's are so bad though. They're so bad. The only, I don't want to get into it before we do the Apple and get forward, but oh boy, if you feel like if you're in a rough spot about like the Mets, the A's are, I don't even know what their future looks like, because usually when they trade away all their guys, you can kind of see the future in some of the young guys that they have. I have no idea what team this is and what they're going to look like in a few years. But
did you see their home record?
Oh, it's atrocious.
7-23.
Yeah, man. They're playing in the Coliseum. They were excited to get on the road and to go play, the 2021 World Series champs. They were like, I can't wait. We might win a ball game.
Jeez. Braves win 7 in a row. They're 7 back. Phillies win 6 in a row. They're 9.5 back. And their schedules stay pretty easy and cozy. Atlanta has the Pirates, the Nats, and the Cubs coming up for 10 games. Philly has the D-backs, the Marlins, and the Nats coming up for 11 games. So, the Mets got to keep trucking on. This off day is very valuable, and they'll calibrate.
Again, too early to start scoreboard watching. That's going to only give you headaches. And you don't want to, at this point in the season, you only care about your team because you need your team to play well.
Yep.
It's like, those guys, I don't know, this is a baseball player reference, but like when you're in the minor leagues and you're in A-ball and you have a teammate on your team that is competitive, but in a bad way, where he's like, he thinks he looks better when his teammates look worse. And he's like, so he roots for his own guys to have bad outings because then he looks like he has a good one. And it's like, dude, you're not going to get called up to Double-A because we suck.
Yeah.
That doesn't make you they're not just going to do it out of necessity. They'll go to somebody else in another organization. So it's kind of the same concept here. Focus on the Mets. And this is a long season. Let's watch and don't worry about the standings too much. We jumped out to that huge lead, which is a great bonus, but the Braves are really good. The Phillies are dangerous. They can play really well. And the Marlins pitch they have some of the best pitching in the game of baseball. So there's going to be, and then Juan Soto is the best hitter in the game of baseball. Not right now, but unbelievable. So don't get too mixed in what's going on around you. Just focus on your team because the Mets are freaking awesome to watch. A little bit of a dud this series, but it's going to happen. Off day, then we're playing Anaheim.
Yeah, I've seen the comment a lot that a lot of Mets fans are worried because we had a lead last year and that was blown. But it's exactly what you said. This team is a much more fun watch. They're a much more cohesive unit. They can beat you in so many different ways that the 2021 team couldn't. And, it's exactly what you said. I really liked your analogy of just focus on your own team right now. Look at it a day at a time. You went 3-4 against the 2 best teams in the National League. Is it ideal? No. You would have liked to get that last game, sure. But that's something I still take to the bank, I think, considering the great baseball you played right before it. The Mets are still in a very good spot. They're going to play a team in a much tougher spot than we are. Before we get to that, we got to do our Apple, because we kind of pushed off our Apple a little bit. This is a late Apple.
Well, all right.
It's my bad.
Apple of our eye. There are two good candidates, so
Yeah.
I will go first because
Go
then
ahead.
you're going to take the other one.
Yep.
And I'm going to take the obvious one. I'm going to go with the apple of my eye as Mr. Eduardo Escobar. Okay, Eduardo, my man, hit for the cycle, played great defense, fired up the fans. Might have outside of Walker Buehler the tightest pants in the game. 6
Robbie
for
Ray.
12, 4 runs scored, 2 doubles, a triple, a homer, 6 RBI. Beautiful game. Fired us up. Fogo power. Eduardo Escobar is the apple of my eye.
Very nice. Very nice, very nice. Yeah, we needed this from Eduardo. We said this a couple episodes ago. We needed this West Coast trip for him to break out and start contributing in a huge way to this lineup. That's exactly what he did. He almost single-handedly won us Game 1 with 6 RBI in that game. Beautiful performance for him. I think that, he had a stride in April where he was drawing a lot of walks and putting together good at-bats, and now he's really starting to drive it for extra base hits and slugging well. I'm not going to say that Shakira fixed Eduardo Escobar, but I am going to suggest it offhandedly a little bit. I'm just saying. I feel like that would fix any man, so, there's no surprise there. You mentioned that there was 2 choices. I am going to take the other one, and that is Cookie Carrasco. He gets the apple of my eye.
The cookie of our eye.
The cookie on our plate.
That sounds painful.
Yeah, ow. Yeah,
yeah, the apple. Cookie gets the apple.
Yeah, Cookie gets the apple.
Circle gets a square. Have you heard that before?
Yeah, I've heard it. I don't know if it works, though.
Do you know what that's from? Just a quick...
No, I don't.
Hollywood Squares was a show back when... You remember TV?
Oh, I know. I've never heard
know what
of
a TV is?
No.
Yeah,
what is a cable?
Yes, what is a cable? Cable box? Okay. All right, let's move on.
Cookie, he's been excellent. He went 7 innings, 2 earned runs, 5 hits, no walks, 10 strikeouts. Here's a fun stat I pulled from Jacob Resnick, who does awesome work for SNY. Cookie, last year in 2021, pitched into the 6th inning in 3 of his 12 starts. This year, it's been a much different story. He's pitched into the 6th inning in 7 of his 11 starts. He looks like a completely different pitcher. He's top 5 in the NL for various categories. He has been the guy that we really thought that Bassett might be during this stretch. He's really held his form, kind of been an ace for this club, and I think that when we get our guys back, he's going to be a nice little piece to have at the back end of the rotation. And, we have that team option for Cookie for 2023, which gets me very excited because I think having him on board for another year would be absolutely excellent, especially because he's found his form again. It's awesome to see. So Cookie gets my apple.
Couple of things on Cookie. Man, he looks so dang good. He's a great pitcher. You look at his baseball reference page, you'll see why we're excited. But at his age right now, to see what I'm most surprised about is the combination of how many punch outs he's getting with how little or how few walks. He's absolutely dominating. For him to get that many punch outs with the style of pitching that he's doing, it's kind of, I don't want to anticipate that he's going to be this level of dominance and be able to strike out this many guys. But it's such a positive sign. He looks so good.
You kind of nailed it on the head there, actually, in terms of strikeout to walk ratio. Cookie has a 4.69. That's 4th in the NL. He's in company with Max Fried, who's 3rd, Corbin Burns, and Aaron Nola. So pretty good class there.
That's elite stuff. That is, Cy Young candidate, top 5 Cy Young level stuff. Now, I don't want to anticipate him being that guy for the rest of it, but this style of pitching that he's using, it's like McNeil hitting. He uses 5 different pitches and he puts them everywhere, and he deploys them in any situation. He doesn't, it's hard to slump like that unless you start walking guys and leaving balls over the middle. But what he's doing is he's getting all the corners and he's mixing his speeds, and his stuff is sharp. So he's smart. He looks great. Very positive signs for Cookie, and he deserves that apple big time.
Yeah, it's really cool to see a guy attack the zone with such precision as Cookie does, because, he's not going to overpower you with velocity. He's past that age, but he's just got so much nasty stuff in his arsenal that's finally clicking that really wasn't. You could tell when you look back at 2021 starts that Cookie was not right last year. He returned too early. They needed an arm, and I get why he came back, but this is the version of Cookie that Mets fans, I think, were expecting and are very happy to get now.
Yeah, I mean, even beyond expectations, I have to assume, but from his 2021 where he rushed back on top of, cancer and the just a wild ride, a super cool guy. Ask anybody around the league if they've been his teammate, he's like their favorite player on the planet. Like, it's awesome. Easy to root for. So that's very exciting.
So we got the off day today. Very huge for our Mets. I think they need a rest day as they go to Anaheim. They are facing off against the Los Angeles Angels. And I don't know, it depends on what kind of fan you are. If you consider catching them here is a great time or a bad time. There's a differing class of Mets fans.
Are they what is it? Like, bottlenecking to where they're holding it all and they're gonna explode. They're gonna unleash onto us, or are we gonna just bury them deeper? Mike Trout, the greatest player on the planet, is in the midst of a slump, the worst slump of his career. Could look like he might have broken out a little bit, but we'll see. 3-game series, you want me to hop in it?
Yeah, I mean, Trout's got that groin strain, so I don't know if he's going to be back.
We don't even know if he's going to be playing. He's kind of like where Starling Marte is, I think. I don't know if he's going on the shelf, but they'll probably just sit him and take it easy.
Stuck in some limbo, and then the Mets also don't have to face Shohei Ohtani because he's pitching tonight against the Red Sox in the final game of their set.
I think he might be the most hittable of their guys. I don't know.
All right, let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it. Game 1, the return of the Tylor Megill. We need you, buddy. Going against Michael Lorenzen and his enormous biceps, but only on the right side because the left one's not that big.
Yeah.
He's been pitching really well since being in the starting rotation. He has a 3.69 ERA. McGill is the first time on the mound since May 11th. No Angels hitters, shockingly enough, have seen Tylor before. And Lorenzen is coming off the worst start of 2022 for him against those Phillies. He went 5 2/3, gave up 5 earned runs, and had 5 walks, 5 punches in the face, 5
Ouch.
Everything.
5 everything.
Anyway, so game 2. Cookie Carrasco and his apple of his eye from last series and a sparkling 3.52 ERA heading up against Patrick Sandoval and his 2.81 ERA. Sandoval is fantastic, but we're going to hit him around. Mike Trout, 3 for 11 with 2 RBI off of Cookie, but we don't know if we'll see him. And Walsh is 1 for 1 with a home run off of Cookie. Sandoval has allowed 7 earned runs in 7 2/3 innings over his last 2 starts. Again, a little bit of a lull and why they're losing 14 in a row. Cookie has allowed 2 earned runs in 12 innings with 15 punch-outs over his last 2 starts. So a little bit of vice versa there. Cookie has 28 1/3 innings pitched and a 1.91 ERA at Angel Stadium in his career. A comfortable place for him to pitch. Let's hope that continues. Moving on to game 3, Taijuan Walker and his lovely flowing hair. I'm pretty sure he's a tight end when he's not playing baseball. That guy is huge. Every time I see him on TV, I forget how big he is. And his 3.28 ERA looking fantastic against the guy that we may have known before. The name might sound familiar. His name is Noah Syndergaard.
Wow.
No? Round of applause.
I don't think so.
What do you think?
No claps for him.
Are you
I don't know
anything.
I don't know.
I don't know what we're going to hear. Not in Anaheim. Doesn't matter.
No.
A 3.69 ERA from Noah. The Mets will finally face their old teammate, Old Thor, for the first time. Mike Trout, 10 for 16 with 3 homers and 6 RBI against Walker. Let's hope his hamstring or whatever it is feel a little bit tight. 10 for 16 with 3 bombs. Just wanted to reiterate that. And Noah Syndergaard has alternated between quality and blow-up starts since May 9th. He's looked good. He's looked poor. We're going to see a different version of Noah. He's throwing like 94.
Yeah.
Coming off TJ. He's looked pretty well, kind of a different style of pitcher than we've seen in the past. So who knows what form we're going to get coming off Tommy John. You never really know how you're going to feel, but this is a big series for us. Anaheim, cool place to play. I like Angel Stadium. It's fun. And we get to see, maybe the two best players on the planet in Shohei and Mike Trout. Who knows what we're going to get? They've got Jared Walsh out there hitting like 1,200 OPS or whatever the case may be. Anthony Rendon, I think, is on the shelf, so we don't need to see that familiar foe. But they have starting pitching, man. We're going to see Sandoval as a really good left-handed pitcher. Lorenzen has been great. We miss Shohei, but he's a face of baseball right now. So
yeah.
This is going to be a fun series. And I hope they wear those City Connect jerseys, those unis. I love them.
You liked them. Interesting.
I love them, man.
I wasn't a huge fan of the new Angels.
Oh, they're so retro looking. They remind me of like just a really cool old uniform.
Yeah.
With the like uneven patches on their sleeves. Just really cool. I liked them. The cream. I'm a big fan.
Did you like the California Angels jerseys back when they were in Cali? Like back when that was their moniker? Because it was like the font was kind of funky. It was very like 80s. I felt like I kind of like that jersey, and I do like the cream. I just wasn't crazy about these City Connects.
I like them. I like the way they wrote Angels. I don't remember the California Angels right off the top of my head, but I spent so much time in that stadium myself. I never really pitched a lot because when I was in the AL West, they were dominated by righties, and so I rarely made an appearance. Familiar met Bobby Abreu was like the only guy I would face for a little bit, and then Josh Hamilton. But outside, and they had Matsui one year. So, But those are like one guy that I'd be like, all right, well, I just relax and enjoy that LA weather.
It's pretty nice. Not a bad gig, I'd say. Yeah, I mean, big series for the Mets. If they can take 2 of 3, they'll go 5-5 on the West Coast road trip, which I think Mets fans will take to the bank. 500 ball against three good teams. I mean, this last one here was a good team up until this horrid losing streak that resulted in the firing of Joe Madden. You might duck Mike Trout, which is huge. You don't have to face Shohei Ohtani pitching-wise, although he's had some blow-ups during this losing streak. I did a deep dive in the offseason on Patrick Sandoval. I really like what I saw from him last year.
He's gassy.
All these peripherals are panning out this year. He's really looked like probably the best guy in this rotation, the most reliable, even though he doesn't go very deep into games very often. I don't think you'll see Sandoval for more than 6 innings maximum. I don't think he's exceeded that this season. McGill, probably a tight leash. I would say like 70, 75 pitches, 5 innings maybe is like the optimistic viewpoint for McGill. They're not going to rush him back in.
I'm looking for 4. If he gives us 4 competitive innings, looks the part, I'm happy.
Yeah, and I think a big thing in this series is going to be bullpen usage. This Angels lineup is good, but it's extremely top-heavy. It's Walsh, Ohtani, Trout, and then it kind of falls off a cliff a little bit. You have Juan Lagares, he was batting 5th last night, which I could not believe. David Fletcher has not looked the same ever since the balls were a little bit unjuiced. Andrew Velasquez is in this lineup as well. I think
they might have rejuiced him, just so you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the word is. I think it's a mixed bag, but who the hell knows what they're doing with the balls.
Old friend Juan Lagares. I'm excited for that one.
Still getting some regular ABs,
I
which
love
is nice
Juan.
to see. Yeah.
He is a fun teammate to have as well.
Yeah.
One of the greatest Instagram follows. I hardly get on Instagram anymore, but I always see like a sweaty picture of him, I'm working out, working hard. It always cracks me up.
Hell yeah, Juan. I mean, it's just, you might see Edwin in the 8th again if the order is right, similar to what we saw in the LA series. We didn't see any of Edwin in the San Diego series, so I'm sure Buck is itching to use him. And Cookie in the middle game is huge, so he'll stay on his 5-game track, so the others of the rotation will shift around a little bit for Cookie. Big series here. You want to keep them in their losing ways. They're playing the 4th game of their set against the Red Sox tonight. They've lost the first 3. It has been a doozy, a nightmare for the Angels. Aaron Loop is on the Angels. He has not had a good season so far, so the Mets maybe are looking pretty good for not offering him that bag.
Don't you dare. Don't you talk bad about Loop.
It felt wrong to say when I said it. I want you to know that. I'm sorry. So I mean, big opportunity to capitalize. And then you come back home finally, and you got 2 10 p.m. games here. It's good. No more late nights, please.
Oh
Get
my
them all out of
gosh,
the way,
right?
please.
Yeah, this, by the way, brutal of MLB. So they're gonna get an off day now. Then they have an off day after this series. They're playing the Sunday night game at 7 o'clock. It's 4 o'clock West Coast. But can they get a day game and have a full off day, fly home from coast to coast and get in at a decent hour. Like, brutal, man.
Such
brutal.
jerks, man.
It's horrible.
Listen, I get it. We're fun to watch. We play a good brand of baseball. Does everyone need to watch us? Do we really need the Sunday night baseball spot?
No.
Come on.
That's the difference. They don't, if they cared about player safety and the health, they would play a 1 o'clock game, because it's two absolute star-studded teams. They're gonna tune in regardless. So just let them play at a normal time.
You know what? And you know what the crazy thing is? The Sunday night game could have just been Dodgers versus Giants. They're playing Sunday.
I think it is Dodgers Giants.
Is it?
We play at 4 West Coast time.
We play at 7 East Coast times. The Dodgers and Giants are playing at 4 East Coast times. That's 1 West Coast time. So what the hell, man? What the hell?
There's still time. Do right by our Mets. Let them have a full day. So this is how you're as a player, as a coach, as an organization, split on the road and win at home. If they win 2 out of 3 here, they literally go 50, go 500 on the road. That's what you ask for. And if not, you just think if they don't win the series here, they had a rough road trip on a schedule that was a rough road trip before we started. So no need to panic, no need to look over your shoulder. Again, we're in this marathon. You think about, we're at the 25-yard line on a breakaway run. We got out to a big lead. You're at the 25. You don't want the running back to start peeking over his shoulder, because he's going to start slowing down. So keep your head forward, worry about your footsteps and your pace. It's not quite time to where you need to start looking over your shoulder yet.
I can tell that you have been prepping your analogies for your booth appearance this week.
I have not. These come naturally. I don't even know if they're going to make sense as I'm spewing this vitriol out of my brain.
Both were pretty good, man. They were pretty good.
Good.
Some of your best, I gotta say.
All right. It's the coffee's kicked in.
What's
both got
going
on with this head of hair? What do we got?
So I saw, this was the head of hair you had at Citi Field. It was pretty, a little bit of mad scientist is what I'm getting.
It's big, dude. I don't know what to do with it.
Get
so
you the
big.
lab coat, maybe. Get you a couple vials. Like
I don't know what to do.
It
needs so much product, but I'm like, I don't know.
Are you a headband guy?
Look at those grays, by the way.
Oh, come on. They're like.
Am I a what?
Are you a headband guy?
No,
like
not a headband.
Yeah, I don't think it. Like that would maybe it would keep it back. I don't know if it would look good.
We'll see. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it.
Lots of gel.
They stuck this head of hair. Look at that. They stuck this head of hair on the radio. They said we need to put you, on the other
audio
side.
only might be best.
I know, right?
I think so.
Mean. It's brutal.
Yeah, Jack. If you're listening, when he went like this, that's your thumbnail right there. That's your thumbnail.
Is it?
Yeah. Think right. It's perfect.
That's crazy.
That's perfect.
It's something. All right.
All right, guys, that is it for our episode of Shea Station. We'll see you again Monday to recap the Angel series. Bye, buddy. Hope you find your dad. That's really good. Not Christmas, by the way. Pretty interesting.
Elf is Christmas year round.
It's timeless, I guess. That's what he's saying.
This is my workout shirt this morning. So
Jerry's movie pick of the week is Elf in June.
Big movie pod. All right, let's go Mets.
Take care. Have a good weekend.
Bye.